After seeing the title, some of you might raise your eyebrows, thinking that how could a world leader like Nelson Mandela have won the Rugby World Cup? Yes, not only he won the Rugby World Cup, he also won the hearts of the whole world with this victory. He won over the hatred that the blacks had against the whites of South Africa. He sowed peace and love among the non-whites or blacks. The ethnic native black peoples of South Africa were denied their basic rights like holding lands, education, and even voting rights by the whites who ruled them over the hundred of years. They were segregated socially by the whites. The period like this was called as apartheid in history. Cricket lovers in India know that due to this apartheid policy of South Africa was not allowed to play cricket internationally till 1990. Mr. Nelson Mandela was imprisoned for about 26 years by the whites. Due to such a race discrimination, the native black people of South Africa had hated the whites. So, the native black people did not want to play rugby as whites played it. Black people preferred football and hated rugby. How much they hated the rugby was that they went to see the rugby match and supported the opposite team. They raised their voice supporting for the opposite team. They chanted for them. It was year 1990. An agreement was made between the imprisoned Nelson Mandela and the whites government on the abolishment of apartheid. And following that, Mr. Nelson Mandela was released from the prison after 26 years. The majority of the black people wanted to revenge the whites. So, fearing revenge against them, the white people wanted to leave South Africa and planned to settle somewhere. But Mr. Nelson Mandela asked the native black peoples to forgive the whites. So, blacks had to follow their leader's word and forgive the whites. And some black people saved the whites from the anger of some other black people. It was year 1994. Nelson Mandela won the election and assumed the presidency of South Africa. The national rugby team of South Africa was called as Springbok, but the newly elected legislators wanted to change its name and its colors as they believed that it might indicate the race discrimination that they had in the future too. So, they did not want the name Springbok to take along with them. But Mr. Nelson Mandela refused to do that and said that taking away the name would only increase the insecurity of the whites and it would affect the aim of his building a rainbow nation. It was year 1995. As already planned, South Africa had to host the Rugby World Cup in 1995. Using this event as an opportunity, Mr. Nelson Mandela wanted to unite South Africa. He asked all the native black people to support their team Springbok in the upcoming World Cup. He requested every citizen of South Africa to come and support South Africa's national rugby team Springboks. He strongly believed that the Rugby World Cup would give love and peace among the different races that had hated each others. Then what happened is history now. Yes, all South African people seized the stadium and chanted Springboks, Springboks, Springboks. Till then, the Springboks had not won any major title in their history. In the final match, South Africa was in lead position with the score of 9-6 at halftime. But in the second half, the team New Zealand, called as All Blacks, came from behind and leveled the score at 9-9 at full time. It was the first time in the Rugby World Cup history that a final match was taken to extra time. At the extra time, with the support of the South Africa's people, the Springboks had scored 3 more goals in extra time and won the Rugby World Cup for the first time in their history. It was the day that the whole world came to know the benefits of affection among the human beings. World started to believe that hatred would only give death and tears. It was the day that the whole world believed when a group of race is governed by its own people, it could achieve more heights in international arena. Celebrations broke out across South Africa. All people came to the streets and celebrated the victory. See the effects of affection among the people. But what happens in today's world? Even a single leader has his heart with full of hatreds, he can spread it easily to every people. People become intolerant and elected them as their political leaders too. People of the world suffer most due to hatred these days. This story was made as a feature film in Hollywood, directed by Clint Eastwood and acted by Morgan Freeman as Mandela and Matt Damon as the Springboks captain, franchise pioneer. The name of the film is Invictus.